Welcome to Ladder Talk Live, a podcast for leaders, thinkers, and future makers, covering topics like personal branding, self-awareness, networking, fear, and career management. I'm your host, I'm Coach Willena. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ladder Talk Live. I'm your host, I'm Coach Willena, and we are in for a treat today. We have a very, very special guest. So this week, as you all know, we are in the Future of Work Week. And today we are talking about how an agile transformation can help you keep pace with the future of technology. So in today's episode, we're talking about specifically what agile methodology is, how it can help you. And our special guest today is Aina Alive. She is an agile coach and consultant with 10 years of experience in different industries from beauty and hospitality to engineering and IT. Aina is a founder of Be Agile, and that's BEE Agile, a boutique company with a goal of supporting organizations and leaders in providing maximum value to their customers and teams. Outside of business, Aina loves traveling, taste exotic pastries, and solving puzzles. So let's welcome to the stage, Aina. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Willena. I'm good, excited to have a chat with you. And good morning or good evening, everyone, wherever you are, guys. Very excited.
Yes. Now, tell us, where are you located so we know?
I am in Toronto, Canada.
Yes. And we talked earlier, we have to ask the question of, is it cold? Because in my head, it's always cold in Canada.
Yeah, that was in my head when I just moved here. But no, it's the end of September and it's still warm. So the way I dress up, it's kind of like warm for me because you can wear a t-shirt right now and it's like pretty warm here. So welcome to Toronto.
Yes, it's on my list. I have not yet made it, but I shall be there soon. So maybe I'll have to check you out when I arrive. Now, I just dropped your link in the chat. So for those who want to follow you, they can connect with you on LinkedIn. Now, again, if this is your first time joining us, feel free to pop in the chat. We want to introduce you. We want to greet you wherever you are located. Feel free to interact in the chat. Now, Aina, so tell me about your business, Be Agile. What's going on over there? What are you working on? What are you solving? What support do you provide?
Great question, because I've been in this business for 3 years as a business owner, and I rebranded about 3 times, and now I am on my third stage of rebranding. So currently I help B2B and B2C in leadership skills, so soft skills such as facilitation, storytelling, and everything else you need to be a great leader. And also for my B2B clients, I help organizations to transform from old and maybe a bit of conservative way of work to modern and fast, because agility and speed is everything in the modern world. So yeah, that's what organizations needed right now.
Absolutely. Now, there's big talk between Agile and Scrum and what the heck they both mean. Are you able to give us a little bit of a breakdown on what is Agile, what it can do for an individual, and then also what's the difference between Agile and Scrum?
Yeah, absolutely. So for many, like Scrum is equal Agile and Agile is equal Scrum, but which gives me like a big headache as an Agile coach, because Agile is like an umbrella. And it's like a mindset, philosophy, methodology, and consists of some frameworks. So Scrum, it's a framework under Agile umbrella. For those who are more experienced, you might hear words such as Kanban or a Kanban board. If you used like Trello board or Asana, you might see some familiarities with that. But all of these are framework under the big Agile umbrella, which consists definitely ceremonies, methodology, structure, but also mindset, flexibility, and philosophy. It's like yoga for like Western world, when many took it just like as a stretching and flexibility exercise, but there is like lots of going on behind yoga, which many people don't see, unfortunately. So the same is with Agile.
Now, how can Agile help the average person? Like if you're not a Scrum Master, if you're not an Agile coach, how utilize the Agile methodology in your day-to-day life or in your career?
Yeah, so this is a great question because Agile was created for software development, and many assume that it's just like for IT people. And if you're not in IT, don't even try to understand to study. Like, no, as I told, Agile is about flexibility and being adaptable to new norms, to new worlds. So agile philosophy and agile mindset can be utilized in a personal life and in personal planning. So for example, instead of thinking like projects, even like having personal projects, or if we're business owners, we definitely have our business. So instead of like thinking like project overall and kind of like being perfectionist and develop every single piece and then deliver the final part to the customer, we might think about stages, about smaller sprints, and solicit feedback as soon as possible. And this is a key principle of Agile. And also reflect and retrospect and improve continuously. So what I do for myself, I have 1 week sprint for myself, doing some work, some exercise, like mental exercise, physical exercise, business exercise. And then on Sunday, I open my diary and I ask powerful questions such as what I've done like during the last week, what I did well, what was wrong, how I can improve next week. And the most important is how can I improve continuously? No matter how good I am, I still have room for improvement. And that's how like each of you can utilize Agile, start utilizing Agile in your day-to-day life. And when you utilize that, we can go to the more specific tasks.
That's really powerful because it's always good to be able to have that time to reflect, right? On what you accomplished for the week, what you were unable to accomplish for the week, so that when you're preparing for the week ahead, you are taking that data and information that you've gathered through what you just said. For example, journaling to yourself, what was my plan for the week? What out of the plan did I accomplish? What do I still need to accomplish? What were the barriers? What were the roadblocks? Why did I not achieve everything I wanted? So some of these things you're already doing unintentionally. You're utilizing the agile methodology, but there's still, in my opinion, if you learn more, you can do more. So if you know what you're doing, and that you're utilizing that methodology, you have that piece of power to be able to not only reflect again and have control over that space, but you can utilize it to advance as well. What got you into Agile and being that coach?
Sorry, could you repeat the last sentence?
Yeah, what made you get into the Agile methodology? How did you get into it?
Yeah, so I switched my career 5 times, and it's quite a TED Talk speech and a long story. Well, I was an electrical engineer before, but I liked, like working with projects, but I am not like detail oriented, like a specific tactical person. So I kind of like didn't feel that electrical engineering is for me. So then I transferred to project management, which was kind of like manage, being like above people. So I liked like human factor, but I didn't like being above and manage people. So then I moved to creativity. I started being a nail designer. Then I was a teacher. So all of this helped me realize what I want to do, that I like coaching. I'm not like detail oriented person. I'm more like strategic. So I like strategy. As a strategy, you can be like a CEO or a business owner or like a coach. And since I like teaching and I don't like to be in front all the time, so I decided like rather than pushing my career to become a CEO, I'd rather be a coach and like the one who is like coaching CEOs. And also, like the fun part of a coach, you can coach many CEOs and many businesses simultaneously, and kind of being involved from engineering part, which I loved, especially solar engineering, to a medical innovation or any other businesses, and kind of be like everywhere at the same time without being like fully involved and like deeply involved, which is not my strength, unfortunately.
Now, when you're coaching your clients, are you coaching? I assume, obviously, from that agile methodology, because you're coaching leaders and CEOs and C-suite executives. Do you find that they typically are already utilizing that methodology and formula, or is it something you have to introduce them to?
It depends on the person. Some people subconsciously utilize at least like the basic mindset principle. So when we start talking, I was like, "Oh, but you're already using Agile without knowing that you're using Agile." Some people are still like conceptual conservative and rigid, so everything is totally new for them. So definitely it's more challenge to work with such people, but coaches will love challenges. It shouldn't be like as easy. So when you see like when like such a person transforms from the rigid and micromanaging and command and control mindset to embracing the team, embracing people, and start focusing on customers and how to make work environment better, this is what like warms my heart as a coach and make me feel like, yes, I do the right thing. I want to keep coaching.
Mm-hmm. I love that because, there is a big misconception to what you said that the Agile and Scrum methodology is reserved for IT software engineers and project management, but truly it's for the average person, to continue to manage their day-to-day lives. So it's exciting to hear someone who is doing it from a business perspective and not in a technical perspective and how it's benefiting them or helping your clients. Now, from your perspective, when we're talking about Agile and Scrum and all of the different things that kind of come along with that, what are the biggest misconceptions about what you currently are doing?
Oh, there are many of them. So first, I already addressed that Agile equals Scrum and Scrum equals to ceremonies and processes, which is about mindset and being people-oriented and customer-oriented. So this is probably the first and the biggest misconception. The other misconception, Agile is kind of like a buzzword. We don't know what it is, but everybody is moving Agile. So we need an Agile coach for our organization to be a modern, like not all organizations need Agile. Agile is not for like the remedy for everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
such organizations like NASA, for example, who work in projects and need like really detailed like project scope and description, they might not need Agile because they don't have like really customers' feedback. So Agile is not a remedy for everything. Waterfall is still around us and still works well. And probably the third misconception is that we start doing ceremonies without understanding the principles behind them. We start doing Scrum, we start reflect, we start retrospect, and our life is going to be better. So we can move on without coach. Like, no, you can like be better for the next like few months, but you still the pair of eyes next to you to observe you from the distance. Unfortunately, people can't observe themselves from the distance. They need someone strategical if they are in the battlefield and do some tactical stuff. So these are my top three.
Yeah. When you're working with teams and helping them to kind of, I guess, reorganize their org maybe or reorganize from a project perspective, what is the biggest piece of resistance that you've experienced and do you think it's more so from a mindset perspective or do you ever get resistance on the methodology?
Oh yeah, all the time, and that's why organizations hired us. But
Mm,
people are resistant by nature. Maybe just like young kids when they are in their exploration mood, they try everything new and they're excited about that. But when we get certain age, all of us are resistant, and myself as a coach, I'm resistant too. And I will give you an example. So I had my old iPhone for a few years, and then I bought this new red beautiful model which I was like super excited about, but I needed to switch from old model to new model.
mm,
So I bought it, I brought it home in a beautiful box, and it took me a few days until I started using it. So I was rigid, I procrastinated for a few days to use the new phone which I was excited about and I liked, and I spent my own money to buy it. I was resistant. Now
mm,
imagine the situation where the organization hires someone from outside. This someone comes to you out of blue and starts pushing new changes. So obviously you're going to be resistant.
mm.
So yeah, the first, like the key in agile coaching is to establish the trust with people and also make sure that you understand their perspective and they understand your perspective. So never push like the first days or the first weeks. Understand why they don't want change. Most of the time it's fear or desire to stay in their comfort zone. So try to make this change as the most comfortable as possible. Don't push hard. Like little steps is kind of like the key word for this, but even like little steps don't work until you establish trust with people.
Man, you said a lot right there because a lot of people are resistant to change, even if you've purchased the change yourself, right? I had a client, a prospect that I spoke to yesterday, and they're unhappy in the space that they're currently in. They're very unhappy, but they are so attached to that level of unhappiness that they've gotten warm and fuzzy inside of it. And when a rescue, I'm providing rescue here and getting you out of that place, you're like, well, I mean, I don't like it here, but I'm used to it,
Yeah.
right? And you don't, although you don't want to be here, you don't know what the outside world looks like maybe in some cases. And so you're just like, oh, well, at least I know where I'm at. I'm just going to stay in this unhappy place. And so I imagine, even corporations, sometimes people think, well, at a larger level, they're just more agreeable, but that's, in fact, they're probably a little bit more stubborn in the way that they've been working and doing things. I know that I've experienced that in working in tech myself, that anytime there's a level of change or something new that's brought to the playground, the higher ups sometimes can be pretty resistant to change until they see how it benefits them. Once they see themselves in it and how it can help them save them time and energy and et cetera, then all of a sudden it's like, I'm a big advocate for this and I'm very open to the level of change that it can provide. Now, what do you have going on from a coaching perspective? How are you currently accepting clients? Do you only work with corporations or do you work with individuals as well?
I work both with corporations and individuals. So I started working with corporations only because it was easier for me because I was already in the corporate world.
Mhm.
But then I noticed that when I come to a corporate world, I need to start from scratch working with people, with teams, and with team leaders. And also, many people are asking me on LinkedIn because I'm quite active there and write about my work, my challenges, and what I do to coach them. So I started mentoring people, but then I got like too many mentees. So I
Ah,
didn't have time for them, unfortunately. So that's how I decided, yes, I'm quite busy, but why not to expand to B2C and also started coaching B2C people and eventually created programs up to 10 people where I can help these leaders to have soft skills and to understand change and to, like to develop new leaders because I'm getting older and unfortunately it's the destiny for all of us. So kind of having like new generation of leaders, it's kind of what is on my plate right now. So it's for personal pleasure, as more leaders I create, the more changes I can bring to the world, which will make my life easier as a coach if I create other coaches.
yes, absolutely. So is that the next phase for you, Ina, that you're going to start teaching your methodologies and things like that to other coaches so they can utilize that in their businesses?
Yeah, so I'm transitioning to this phase. I am teaching corporation and leaders right now, but B2C is a big segment which I'm going to focus probably like this fall already and definitely 2023. So yeah, I have like career coaching programs such as Scrum Master or product ownership if you are like inside the industry. But even if you are like not in IT, you are not in Agile, to a leader, you definitely need facilitation skills. You need storytelling skills. You need organizational skills to be a great leader. So I provide these tools and these coaching sessions as well.
Mm. Now you mentioned that you have a book that has it already launched or is it launching? Can you tell us
Yeah,
about
it was launched. Yeah, it was launched in March this year. This is my first book. It's kind of like my first baby.
that? Yeah.
It's about career development. So I wrote 40 letters to a younger version of myself, and it was like an idea which I tried to develop for like quite a long time because, as I told, I mentored many people, and most of them asked me the same questions like how to get into IT, how to write my resume, could you check up my resume, how to collaborate with recruiters, and what to do when I'm already hired, which like many recruiting agencies and many like recruiting coaching agencies are missing. Like they lead you until you get a job offer. So kind of like your dream fulfilled and you are good to go. But
Mhm.
no, like to get a job is just half of work. You need to keep this job. And unfortunately, I didn't see many who teaches people how to keep the job. So I included about 12 letters about this segment as well. And I was thinking, so how can I write this book? I started with like posts on LinkedIn. So for example, you need to develop the personal brand, like developing the personal brand, you need to do this, you don't need to do that. But I sound like, like I'm teaching like from above, like a professor, do this, you do that. And I didn't like it at all. It's not my style at all. So I was thinking, how can I deliver it as a friend? So then I remembered when I was in my 20s, nobody taught me this. I had to learn in a very painful way from scratch, and it appears that many people don't know that even if they are not in their 20s. So this is how the idea came to write letters to the younger version of myself.
And tell us, what is the title of the book for those who are listening to the audio version and want to look it up?
As the title is, It Starts With You.
Oh,
Letters to a Younger Career Book.
wow, that is a fantastic title. I can't wait to and is there an audio version of it as well?
No, not
Coming
audio.
soon?
It's unfortunately not audio. I wanted to record my voice. I didn't want like someone else speaking my voice, but you probably noticed that I have an accent, so it's kind of like my personal fear that if I just record the audio, maybe it wouldn't be as great as a native speaker is talking. So that's why I'm kind of like thinking about this idea.
Yeah, no, I perfectly think both are good. But if you want it to be you, no one has said that they don't understand. Has anyone said that to you? Probably not. So give it a shot. But we'll be tuning in to see things that happen. Now, is there going to be a second book coming in the future? You think now that you've gotten that first one done?
Yeah, when I got the first one done, I got an idea to write a second one and then a third one. So it's kind of like ideas kept like flowing in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the next one is gonna be like more industry related and more like our conversation related. So first, it's gonna be like agile for Scrum Masters, like very professional, very detailed. Kind of again, you started a job as a Scrum Master. What you need to do. This is a checklist. This is how you need to behave on the ceremonies. Because I study this subject for many years and unfortunately didn't see anything even like flow. There is like lots of theory about it, about mindset, which is super important.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kept iterating, Agile is a mindset first, then processes and tools and everything else. But when you start working, you need processes and tools as well as mindset. And unfortunately, nobody focusing on that. So this is going to be my first book, and the second book is about agile for personal planning and agile in the personal life, because I want to populate this idea with people who are not in IT and want to make sure that they understand and use the principles, because there is like lots of benefits in agile and personal life as well.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see them all. So we'll be on the lookout, and hopefully you'll come back and promote the next book as it comes out here shortly. But I really appreciate you joining us. Any last thoughts that you'd like to leave us with today?
Last thought: if you feel that you want to try something new, try and find a mentor on your way. So it took me 10 years to switch to IT because I felt like if you want to work in IT, you need to know how to code. And I was horrible coder, so I was like, IT is not for me. But appeared that you can be a leader in IT and you actually don't need to know how to code, but to know that you need someone who can explain it to you who is in IT. So it's my biggest regret to waste the time. So yeah, if you think that something is impossible or you don't have enough skills, maybe there is just like one way you're looking at right now, and this way is not for you. But there are many other ways around to climb this mountain. So don't be discouraged. Just find someone who climbs this mountain already, and this person will navigate you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Find someone who has climbed the mountain before you. I'm sure they're willing to give you a hand up. So thank you so much, Aina, for joining me today on Ladder Talk Live. We've learned a lot. I know the comments have gone crazy. We're cross streaming on different platforms. So people are chatting in and chatting about how impactful this is. For those of you who want to watch the replay, you can watch a video version exclusively on YouTube. So be sure to tune in. And Aina, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you, Willena. And thank you everyone for listening to us.
Thank you. Have a good one.
A good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Thanks for watching the latest episode of Ladder Talk Live. That last episode was jam-packed full of information. I know I took a lot of notes. I hope you were able to do the same. If you find yourself at the end of this episode wondering how to get your career back on track, or if you need just a little bit of career clarity, make sure you go to coachwillena.com to sign up for your free complimentary career consultation. Let's get your career aligned to where you're looking to go next. Again, we're here to help everyday people live extraordinary lives. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and wherever you watch your podcasts so you are in the know when new episodes launch and new opportunities to learn are available. I'll talk to you soon.